YouTube, what's up? My name is Chicken Fried Rice, and today we are going to be playing some Ruse. This is going to be some gameplay of Ruse on the map Treason, and this is not going to be 1945. This is going to be some 1942 era gameplay. So this means that you have access to most units. You don't have access to prototype bases. You don't have access to some of the more advanced units, and you don't have access to admin buildings. So pretty much supply depots are your only source of income. And once you don't have access to those, you're completely screwed. And this game starts off very interesting. So we have our friend here, Italian. As usual, he will do his what Italy usually does, a tank rush. Me right here, I set myself up. I get 4 pushkas. I get some anti-tank guns, some light tanks, and then eventually some T-34s. But that's not what this is all about. Here, if you see, so right here, his attack gets stopped dead in its tracks by, let's go neutral here. These are a bunch of Wolverine tank destroyers and a bunch of Lees. So this guy just gets pushed back all the way back, and now they're going to get pushed all the way back into their base. So what both of them do is they send a secondary, how do I say, a secondary headquarters back here, and everyone on his team lagged out, so it's only this one guy, except he didn't realize that he was in control here. So, well, actually he did, but he kind of gave up on here after I defeated many assaults. So right here he attacks, and because I did a bunch of fake units, which probably scared him a lot, so he was freaking out. He does bombing runs and all that. So it was pretty much 1 versus all 4 of us, but he does manage to take out one guy, and since he focused all the supplies there and there, just kept the minimum to hold us back. This German dude focused on making fighter bombers, which is very useful. These fighter bombers came in useful, and this guy could not make armored anti-air. He could only make vehicle anti-air, which made it very easy for us to take him out with artillery, which is a good combination. You take out the anti-air with artillery, and then you roll in with the planes to take out the tanks. So right here, this guy's coming in, so I pull back my tank destroyers, and I send forward my light tanks. Light tanks aren't the best to deal with infantry, but, you know, it's always good to have those. So right here, you can check. You can see the Italian dude is all the way screwed. He has nothing. His ally has nothing. He's trying to make a couple bunkers, but then artillery kicks in. This guy has made 4 priests. He ends up making a lot more than that. So in the meantime, my ally's fighter bombing him. And then here, I don't know what's happening here. I think these are like, yeah, he's just stacking a crap load of stuff inside that. Here, let's have a look at what he has in there. Yeah, so he has a crap ton of units in both of those things, and then over here he has nothing. So he focused all his funds over here, which is fine, but he's going to take out these guys. These guys are going to start making secondary HQs here. And in the long run, we're going to beat him because even though he had more units, he thought he had the game in the bag, but we were just very smart about the units we had and how we used them. And I wasn't always smart with my units. Like at one point I just wasted a huge column, but it actually destroys a lot of his units, so that's a plus. So right here he has a crap load of, let's see what he's moving. He's moving a lot of infantry over there for some reason. You know, I don't know why he did that during the game, but that is very, very odd. So we're about, what, like 12 minutes in the game. This game took a long time. So, this is always nice. I wish there would be a faster way to fast forwards, but there isn't. So he tries to do a little paratrooper ruse, you know, drop in some paratroopers on my HQ, but I block that because I use some anti-air. Here I have 4 pushkas. Now these things are literally what helped us win the game. So once these guys came over here, one of them already came. He started making an army of priest artillery. And in the meantime, I made 4 pushkas, and I just made anti-tanks and some tanks. That's pretty much all I did. But the pushkas are very, very effective. They're good artillery. And so are the priests. Actually, the priests are very good artillery, especially since they're armored. They can take damage back. But he had so much artillery that he could actually start damaging vehicles at the point he was. I was just there. I was just constantly hammering buildings, trying to slowly pick this guy off. And he really stopped paying attention to this because he was thinking, oh, I can just focus everything here, take this guy out. And by the way, like the Italian dude, he pushed back out. and then he gets pushed back in, but that's beside the point. So he was focusing a lot, and look at this. This doesn't look good for us. We've already lost one guy, and this is all we have, and most of these are anti-aircraft towers in one place with fighter bombers, so it's not looking too good for us. But what I'm doing here is I'm starting to build up a little bit of an army. So I've got some light tanks taking down a crap load of infantry, and I realized that light tanks aren't always going to prevail. So I pull back my anti-tank guns, and I bring in, I started making some anti-tank guns and some infantry and all that because I thought it was necessary because of this guy's huge army that's starting to threaten us. So then my ally starts coming in here because, this guy wasn't doing anything at all with all his units. So I took out his anti-tank base, which he was making Wolverines from, so we didn't want to get taken out by that. And, I took out everything. My ally takes care of some of those tanks. I fire my artillery on the enemy. And it's really a work of using every asset for what it's good at. So right here, he's like using his artillery, but then this guy's approaching, which is threatening. The Sherman is like threatening to blow up all his artillery, which I think the Sherman could have just taken out all those artillery guns, which looks like it can. So he's probably, look at that. He's gonna pull back all his artillery guns because he doesn't want to lose those. And here comes a paratrooper drop. This guy did a little paratrooper drop on our continent. I didn't notice this originally, but luckily for us, we had a bunch of AA. So right here, what happens is I start using my stack of doom, take out those, it's not that big of a stack of doom. There is a reasonable amount of tanks in it, but I take out those tanks that are coming for us, and all he has left here is this little infantry base, which I think I end up taking out my artillery. But in the meantime, we're getting attacked here, so I decide, this is a perfect opportunity to go around him and flank him. And I thought I was going to be able to do that very easily, but I didn't. And right here, here's what I meant by he was not, he didn't work well with his units. He had this huge stack of units, but he just drove him in with no strategy, with no support. We used anti-tank guns, anti-tank bunkers. We used everything we had. And you know what? As bad as these odds seem, he just lost, like 10, 20 Shermans. Like, more like 10 than at the place of 20, but still, what a waste of tanks. Now, one of the bunkers here got destroyed, but in the meantime, I had 2 anti-tank guns here. He had this bunker. And just to show you, because the bunkers are very useful, because he also started sending anti-tank guns. And the problem with that is those can't take out bunkers, and my huge stack that I sent over there just got annihilated. But I did take a good amount of the enemy's units to the grave with me, which is always important. So here what I did is I had some units here, I moved them over, and I started putting some anti-tank guns there. So like that, whenever they come in, I can start doing some surprise attacks and start dealing more damage. In the meantime, I'm still using my pushkas to do as much damage as I can. And you guys probably missed it, but he set up supply depots around here, and he kept trying to set them up. Right here, just set up another. All I did is constantly destroy those supply depots, because if he gets any money from those, that's the difference. One supply depot for him is enough to win the game, because we have 0 supply depots. We have no supplies. All 4 of us, if you look, we're all in this little crowded area, so we've got nothing, absolutely nothing to work with to take this guy out. So, we have fighters and we have artillery, but we can't make any new units. We have to use what we have, and he has to use what he has, but that's what he didn't realize, is he had a crap load of units. And he didn't use them wisely. Like right here, he has a crap load of anti-air, anti-tank guns. These are unprotected weapons. So I just used my recon here, and I used my pushkas, and guess what happened? I just blew them all up. That's pretty much the basic explanation. This guy just surrendered because he knew he was totally fucked. Because even though he had, for a good amount of time, he had the superior economy. He started with $800 because all his allies had surrendered. But look at this. Boom, boom. Artillery's just hammering him non-stop. So this guy started to want to fire his artillery on those guys here, because here was a bunch of anti-air and tanks. So he took out all the anti-air with his artillery. I helped out a bit, and then it was clear for the other guy to come in with his planes. So that's always chill, you know. That's the great thing. So even though he was coming in, all he had is Wolverines, and then my anti-tank guns just started chewing him up. He really did not put any strategy into what he was doing. He was trying to just push through. which works when you have admin buildings and a crap load of units, but in this kind of thing, it doesn't work. So, look at that. We won the game. As usual, guys, thanks for watching. Leave your comments below. Please subscribe. And I'll see you guys all next time.